Hey everyone, I thought it would be fun today to draw these cute little snowmen. See, aren't they cute? I really like this exercise because it helps me practice shading and think about where the light is coming from. Have you ever noticed that snow isn't just white? If you look closely, you can see there are several different colors in it. By using different shades of blue, we can make our snowman look round and three-dimensional. All right, before we get started, let's talk about the materials we're going to be using. I have 3 different shades of cardstock. I have a light, medium, and a dark. And I will be using the light one when we get ready to draw. I have a circle template because I like my circles to be a little precise. I have some General's chalk pencils in various shades of blue. I have them some white, black. I have the colors that I'll be using for the scarf. I have some Prismacolors that work well on the cardstock as well for maybe some of the details. I'm not sure if I'll be using those today though. And then I have some chalk sticks that I like to use for larger areas in white, gray, and blue. You will need a pencil and an eraser. So I don't forget to tell you also, workable fixative is really great to use at the end of the project to help so you don't smear everything around. All right, and you know what? If you don't have everything, that's okay. Just use what you have. And if you want to freehand them, that's perfect. Okay, let's draw the circles. And like I said, I'll be using the circle template. I want to use a larger circle at the bottom. Let's see. And I'm going to kind of press lightly so you can't see my lines too much. A medium circle in the middle, and I'm overlapping it a little bit. Let me move this up a little bit here. And I'm overlapping when I'm drawing my circles. And I want a smaller circle on the top for the head. Okay, I didn't get those real precise, but that's okay. And let's erase the top of each circle so it looks like our snowballs are kind of stacked on top of each other. All right, that looks good. But before we continue on, let's talk about light source. When light hits an object, it creates 3 main areas. The first one is the light, the side facing the light, and you can see here on my snowman. And then there's the middle section, which is the shadow, and this is the far other side, the far right side. That is the shadow. Will be your darker shades. And then you'll have the third section, which is the cast shadow, and that is where the snowman is grounded on the ground, and you can see the shadow from the light coming in. But before we get ready to start on that, I have a clip here to give you an example. And here what you're seeing is a simple setup showing how light direction affects the shadows. Notice how the light hits from one side, creating a highlight, a soft transition, and a darker shadow. As the light angle changes, shadows stretch, soften, or sharpen. That's the same behavior we watch for when drawing or shading. Even basic shapes use light to show from. Light tells our eyes what faces the light and what turns away, and where it sits in space. Here's another example that might help you a little better too. This clip shows how light gradually fades into shadow across the surface. That transition from light to mid-tone to shadow creates volume. For our snowman, the light is coming from the left, and you can see here, and the darker shades will be on the right. Hey, why did the snowman look left? Because of course he was looking for the sunshine. Lame, I know. All right, let's start shading. Let's get into this. For my snowman, I forgot we need to add, before we start shading, I need to add the hat and the scarf and the arms, but we'll fill those in later. So let's add the hat, and I'm going to do a little stocking cap here, but you can do any kind of hat that you want. And a little dome at the top and a little circle. Again, I'm trying to press lightly so that when we shade it, you don't see my pencil marks, but sometimes I get a little heavy-handed. The scarf will go right under the top of the head, the first circle on the top. And I'm not trying to, I'm just going the contour of the circle, and I'm trying to just make a little scarf here. Maybe it's blowing in the wind. Then the stick hands just kind of stick somewhere on the side of each of the middle circle. And we'll make them pretty long, maybe. And I'm just going to really lightly color in or draw in my nose and mouth. We will be covering a lot of this up with the chalk. So these are just guidelines. You don't have to worry about if you didn't get them correctly. All right, got those drawn in. Now let's start shading. I am using my darkest blue. I like working from the dark to the light. Some people might want to work from the lightest to the darkest, and whatever you choose to do, that's fine. There's no right or wrong. I just do it so I don't smear so much. I find this is easier for me. I'm going to use the blue shade Ultramarine in the General's chalk pencils. Chalk pencils are really forgiving. They're really easy to blend too. So we're going to start on the dark side, and I'm just going to outline. And you see, I'm not being really precise. So I'm going from my right over to my left. And I'm not too concerned if I'm not filling in exactly, because what's really nice about this blue paper is we're using the shade of blue of the cardstock to kind of help us with our shading. And we will do that on each circle. And like I said, I'm not being real fancy. I'm just kind of filling in, trying to do the same contour of the circle. But if you don't, that's okay. Just try to stay in the lines, fill them in. And you see, I'm going over the eyes and the nose and the mouth. They were just guidelines anyway, so it's fine if you kind of draw over them. That's all right. Now, I am going to go with kind of a middle shade, and this one's called Bright Blue. And I'm going to just kind of go in the middle. Like I said, as we go from one side to the other side, we're going from the darker shades to the middle shades to the light shades. And we'll end up with white. And I do realize snow probably isn't this blue, but that's okay. Like I said, this is a very fun exercise to do, to practice shading. We all could be a little better at shading, right? All right, now this color of blue is just light blue, and you know what? It's kind of almost the same color as my paper, and I like that. So I am just going to kind of blend what I just put in the middle, and I'm just going to kind of go up the middle. Now, I'm going to use my finger. There's a lot of different things you can use to shade. They have blending sticks, but I find that I end up getting too many different colors in my project by using that. I use my finger. You can use a Q-tip. You can use cotton ball. You can even use a Kleenex if you want. Finger works great for me. Chalk pencils and chalk pastels are messy anyway, so let's just get into it. Let's get messy. All right, kind of like that. And now I'm going to go in with some white, and that is where the sun's coming in. So my light colors are going to be on the left. And again, I'm just going around my circle, and you can see my lines where I got a little heavy when I was tracing my circles, but we'll try to cover them up. And if you don't, that's okay. You don't have to be really precise. And I'm just filling in the left side now with white. Sorry, I'm trying to, my pencils are kind of squeaking. Okay, let's use my finger. I used a different finger now to do the white so I wouldn't get the blue mixed in. And I can tell already that's not going to be enough white. So if that happens, take your chalk sticks. You know, this could even be the chalkboard chalk that you get if that's all you have. And I'm trying to blend in the white over to the blue a little bit more with the chalk stick. All right, let's blend in a little bit more with my finger. Okay, I can tell already I need some more of the dark blues. So I am going to go in with my dark ultramarine. And I'm just going to try to darken that right side up a little bit. Okay, now my blue finger. Kind of blend this all in. All right. Also, when you're looking for when you're having the light source, you need to make sure that under each of the snowballs you leave a little bit of a highlight area. And you can use your white pencil. And it's okay, it won't be exactly white. And that is all right. And maybe a little bit under the scarf and a little bit of a white under right under the hat. All right. Now, I'm pretty happy with that. So after we shade and we get our lights and darks in where we want them and we decide where the light source is coming from, we need to add details. And I am going to use, I kind of like how this one turned out with the red and black. With the color stock, it's kind of, some of the colors don't show up really well. This yellow and orange showed up nicely, and this red and black show up nicely. But when we do that, I like to put a piece of paper down because I don't want to smear all over my project. So let's work on the scarf. And I'm just going to alternate red and black. And I'm kind of making it go a little bit outside of the snowman because scarves are bulky. And I'm just going to go like squares, like a checkerboard. And I'm just going to leave room to put some red. Now, when I do the scarf that's kind of behind the front scarf, I don't want my blacks to be on top of each other. So I kind of need to alternate it there. Hope that made sense. And we are just making checkerboards. And I'm going to, while I have the black out, I'm going to go ahead and do the rim of the hat, the stocking cap. And I went down just a little bit under the circle, because stocking caps don't sit flat. And I'm alternating squares again. And I'm going to do just like I did the other one, a little black circle at the top. All right, now we need to go in with the red. And I better put my paper down so I don't smear. And I'm going to put red in between the black, little squares. And I'm not trying to be too precise on my coloring in. You can fill it in a little more solid than I am. I'm just not. I really like using chalk. It is messy, but I do like using it. It's kind of fun to mess with. Now that I've got this all filled in, I kind of want to outline just a little bit. Don't get too carried away with this. It's like this, almost like the stitching of the scarf. Kind of helps tie in the red and black where you made the checkerboard pattern. And then I'm going to make some fringe. And the same with the hat. I kind of already did it a little bit, but we're going to fill it in a little bit more. And then I'm going to take my red again and kind of make some fringe, more fringe coming out the side, the scarf, where the scarf goes. Let's do the top of the hat. And I'm going to just use red. And I'm just going to fill it in. I'm going to kind of make the sides of my hat a little darker with the chalk, so I'm going to press a little harder. And to make it a little bit lighter shade of red in the middle, like a highlight, because you know that sun is still shining on our snowman. Not too much though, we don't want him to melt. Let's kind of blend that a little bit with the red. And we'll just continue adding a little bit more dark. And you see we kind of have a little bit of highlight on the hat. All right, that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to add the stick hands out of sticks, and I want brown. And I have this dark brown right here. And I'm just kind of drawing a stick. Using my lines as a guideline. There we go. All right, now we need to go in with the eyes. So I'm going to put my paper back over, and I totally have gone over my eyes and nose, so I really don't remember where they're at, but that's okay. If you can still see them, go ahead and use that as an outline. But I can kind of see them really faintly. I doubt if you can. And make his eyes. And I'm going to use the orange. Let's see if I wanted a little bit brighter orange. I'm going to use the orange for his nose and kind of make a triangle. Speaking of noses, why did the snowman look in a bucket of carrots? Well, he was picking his nose, of course. I know, that's kind of lame. That's kind of silly. I promise I won't tell any more jokes. All right, let's go in with the mouth and the buttons that go down the base of the snowman. I think I will add just a little bit. You know how carrots have little lines in them when they're not peeled? We kind of want our carrot to look like he's got a little bit like he's a carrot. So I just kind of adding some darker oranges in there to define that. Okay, now this is the part that we need to add the ground shadow. By adding this helps keep our snowman look grounded, so he's sitting on something. We don't want him to look like he's floating. And remember, the light's coming in from the left, so our ground shadow is going to be off to the right. And we'll be using that dark ultramarine again. And so you just really lightly kind of draw a shadow, like an area that he may be reflecting into the snow. I'm leaving a little bit of space right under him, like I think I told you before, is the reflective line. So I'm going about halfway from the middle of the snowman, and I'm fading out. All right, I don't think I want to go any more than that. And I'm going to use my finger again. And then I'm going to take my chalk stick, and I'm going to add some more little snow around the edges so it looks like it's actually snowing. Yeah, like I said, this gets really messy and it gets in your nose. I'm also going to add on the ground shadow, I'm going to just put maybe a little bit of blue chalk. And I think I need some more ultramarine. All right. We also need to add, and I have this really thick, this one's not Generals, this is called Soft Pastel Pencil, and it's a little bit bigger pencil. And I'm just going to add some white on top of the sticks, like some snow maybe settled in. And maybe on top of the hat. And I'm also going to try, I think I need a smaller pencil. I'm going to make my highlight line a little bit more defined under here. All right, that looks pretty good. All right, now take a look at your snowman and step back and take a good look at it, because you might need to add more darks. Do you need some more lights? Do you need some more darks? You know what though? I think at this point, I think our snowman looks really good. And I'm pretty happy with it. And if you look at the different snowmen that I've done, they all kind of look a little different. And that's okay. Have fun with it. And remember, please have fun. Don't get too stressed out about it, because it's just a project and it's just teaching us how to shade. So have fun with it. And if you like this video, please share with a friend. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Goodbye.